What's really good? Game changer sports talk, industry sports. Your host DeeTrynt. I'm here with the homie, all the way from the West Coast. You know what I'm saying? Arizona Al in the building, man. What's good with it, Al?
Man, what's up? What's up? What's happening, y'all? It's Arizona Al, all the way out here from Phoenix, AZ. You know, your hostess with the mostest. We're here. We're ready to talk a little Cardinals football, a little NFC West out here on the West Coast. We're going to talk a little AFC North, see what's up with these Brownies. Trying to talk. Let's go.
Okay, yeah. So, you know that it's the end of the preseason. All right. You know, as the preseason goes now, it's only 3 games. You know what I'm saying? Instead of having a 4th game, they get an extra week off before the season start, which is cool because the season really start on a Thursday. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, they ain't got a whole 2 weeks off. They get like 11 to 10 days, depending on, but that's still better. You know what I'm saying? The roster together, figure out what you're going to do, make your transaction moves, have some more practices, get some days off, enjoy your Labor Day. You know what I'm saying? Like, the NFL kind of like we got it figured out. All right, you know what I'm saying? I get it.
They've been doing it right. They've been doing it right. That's for sure.
But today, all right, we want to talk about our teams, all right, season predictions, how our teams stack up against our own divisions, and the different, little nuances, little details about each team that we feel like we want to highlight.
Absolutely. Right? Absolutely. Let's get to it.
This is what we into today. So, who we talking about? All right? I'm going to go on over here to Arizona Isle, man. And let's see who we talking about, man. Who we talking about right now?
And we're going to talk about a little group of people right now. We're going to talk about the Arizona Cardinals offense. Specifically right now, I'm going to get started with the Arizona Cardinals offensive line. That's what I want to talk to right quick. Got a retooled O-line after last season. Decided that after a few draft whiffs at the center position, it wasn't getting done. So we facilitated a trade with the Las Vegas Raiders for Rodney Hudson. Okay. One of the top greatest centers in the NFL over the past 5 years, has only allowed a single quarterback sack and a single quarterback pressure in the last 3. We're talking about an elite center for Kyler Murray in his essential year 3 where he needs to take his step. In addition, we are bringing back our left side from the past 2 years. Left tackle DJ Humphries, big man Hump, getting better every year, aging like a fine wine. We also have Justin Pugh returning for his, it's going to be the 3rd year of his 5-year contract that we gave him in free agency back in 2018. He's going to start the year. I do believe they said that he came off the COVID list today, so he is slated to start week 1. Obviously, we have Rodney Hudson at center. We're bringing back Justin Murray. Now, Justin Murray was a fun story because back in 2019 when we had the first overall pick, we brought in one Kyler Murray. We also had the top order of the waiver wire for the first 5 weeks of the year. During them waiver wire transactions, we brought in Justin Murray from, I believe his last team was the Buffalo Bills.
Okay.
Due to injury that year, he ended up sliding into right tackle and starting 5 games for us, playing a total of 8. Was graded out as one of our highest rated offensive linemen that year.
Okay.
Now we're bringing him back, but he is sliding in to right guard this year. Reason being is because last year we brought in as well Kelvin Beachum. Now we all know Kelvin Beachum rated out literally the top rated right tackle in football last year with the Arizona Cardinals. Minimum of 50 snaps. He is allowing less than 5 pressures a game. This is excellent on the right side. We have a more athletically tuned up line with a veteran center that is going to give Kyler Murray the necessary protection in order to get the ball off to his retooled receiving core, now starring, of course, the big man, the GOAT, DeAndre Hopkins, number 1 receiver in the league. No disrespect to Mr. Devontae Adams.
Oh, my God. Did he? Hold on. Wait. Hold up.
Oh, was that a
Did
spicy
he
take? That
call
might have
you?
been a spicy take.
Did he call DeAndre the GOAT though? Hey, listen. First off, I like the team confidence. All right, I don't think that should go nowhere. I like the team confidence. But did you call D-Hop the GOAT?
Well, if you're
Oh
gonna bring me on the show
man.
first time, bro, I want to start with a little bit of fire to me because we got a
Oh
little
man.
bit
We
passion
got
out here.
Odell. As long as we got Odell Beckham Jr., man, you know what I'm saying? We gonna always be the GOAT. Hold on, you gotta give us a little second, man. Al'll be right back. Don't worry about it. You feel? We go reshoot him the link. He gonna come right back. You feel me? You know how sometimes it be, man. People see you doing stuff, they always want to hit you up then. But when you ain't busy, they don't never want to say nothing. But Al starting off with his offensive line. Me being that the Browns got a nice offensive line, you feel me? I can understand how him having confidence in this line. Now, I mean, this they first year playing together, so we don't know how it's gonna be, but they did have a preseason. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, they
Unlike
do.
my number one rated line in the league who ain't had no preseason last year, but that's a whole different conversation. You feel what I'm saying?
True, true.
Um,
In respect to the Browns line, they got one of the best in the league right now, and hats off to you.
You know what I'm saying? I can appreciate that, you know what I'm saying? But I did like the transactions made by your front office when it came to that offensive line and giving Kyler Murray the type of lineman that can move and take up space to create, whether it be passing lanes or running lanes. And not just for him though. I'm a fan of Beachum. I'm a fan of Hudson. DJ Humphries, I was a fan of when he first came out. Um, you know, I like to hear the fact that he's getting better every year because he kind of lost. I don't know. They was talking crazy about him. I always thought he was a guard. Me personally, always thought he was a right guard. You know what I'm saying? But that's me. You feel what I'm saying? So, but now, he going into his receiving core and he called D-Hop the GOAT. But listen, though, D-Hop so fire, though. You feel what I'm saying? I can't be mad at him for feeling like D-Hop the GOAT because over the last several years, at least the last 3 or 4 for sure, okay? Even if you don't want to count, the mishap, him getting traded a year, whatever the case, and getting with a new quarterback, you know what I'm saying? But he's still gonna get you over 1,000 yards. He's still gonna get you about 12 touchdowns. You know what I'm saying? Like, and he gonna make impossible catches. Like his hands is so fucking surefire. Not like D-Hop, man. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna stop.
The hands for real is the main reason for me because you got to remember this is the Arizona Cardinals we're talking about here. I don't say the word GOAT lightly, knowing that Larry Fitzgerald has been the paragon of stability and quality for the better part of 15 years. Okay,
That's a
but
fact.
it's the hands and the ability to to command the type of attention for those contested catches. This is absolutely not a slight to Larry Fitzgerald, but anybody who knows the game can obviously see that Larry has lost a step in the past few years. We do not know exactly what is happening with him right now. Obviously, y'all heard in his interview with ESPN a couple weeks ago that he currently does not have the urge to play. That being said, we all know this is Larry Fitzgerald in the Arizona Cardinals. If he so decides to come back, obviously there is a roster spot open for him. The contested catch ability that DeAndre Hopkins brings to this roster is something that has been sorely lacking in the past few years, especially considering the decline in Larry Fitzgerald's skills. And this is why I call him the GOAT of this roster as it stands right now. Now, I'm following that up with AJ Green. Now, for the first time, and I mean genuinely for the first time since the Anquan Bolden Ken Wisenhunt days, do we have a legitimate 1-2 punch threat at wide receiver with DeAndre Hopkins and AJ Green on either side, and having Kyler Murray being able to sling the ball to these two veterans is going to be a crucial component of his development in year 3.
Okay. Okay, so you saying Kyler was already gonna take the 3rd-year jump, but adding AJ Green just helps. Now,
Absolutely.
personally, I wouldn't even debate that take because I had AJ Green in my division for a very long time, and AJ Green, nice. And even that, 32, 33 years, he's still nice. You feel me? A veteran on that team. He could definitely school Christian Kirk and some of the other young guys y'all got over there. But I will say I do think y'all are gonna be got one definitely top 5, maybe even top 3 wide receiver duo. My wide receiver duo so fire though. It's
Well,
hard for me to just. But you
especially
do got two
especially when
number
we talk
one.
about absolutely no, excuse me, I'm sorry, but especially when we talk about two legitimate 1-2 punches at wide receiver being led by two Oklahoma quarterbacks, and our each of us also just so happen to have a comeback player of the year candidate as one of those wide receivers.
We gonna get
Obviously,
into
the
that.
comparisons are going to be there.
Fair enough. You know what I'm saying? But so let me for you elaborate more. You know what I'm saying, on your get into more of your offense, man. Let me catch up with you. All right.
Please, please, please.
So the Browns, we made our 53-man roster cuts. It was tough. All right. We had a lot of guys that's been playing a lot with us. And one guy in particular, Cedric Redwine, was one of the leading cuts. Him, a wide receiver, Cordero Hodge.
Okay.
Hodge has been with us the last 3 seasons, undrafted. We initially gave him like $2.1 million, but because the competition that we had was so stacked, and then being that Andrew Berry, Kevin Stefanski, Paul DePodesta, leading this front office and coaching staff, they being in their second year, each regime want to bring in their own guys. You know what I'm saying? That's just how it works. But I do believe they've done a good job, a better job, an outstanding job compared to all the past regimes we done had since '99 and Tim Couch and Chris Paul, whatever. So,
And there are quite a
they
few.
they did quite a good job of not just pushing out the players they inherited, but trying to see how all those fit with the scheme they trying to run. They all came in. Kevin Stefanski put the motto down. He say, "Hey, we're going to run to the strength of our players." Last year, nobody was able to see that because we didn't have a preseason. So he had to come in with the offense he knew and build around the players he had with it throughout the year. He definitely got better, definitely got better, definitely got better. And now in year 2, being that Andrew got to see that, he got to see what all his coaches need and evaluated them on how they perform or what they have, which is, when I get later on into it about how defensive coordinator Joe Woods got blessed. But Cedric Redwine is a guy, free safety we drafted out of Miami, former 5th-round pick. I wanted him to stay. We drafted a guy in the 5th round, though, Richard LeCount. Excuse me. Redwine, his name is Sheldrick Redwine, and he was a
Sheldrick.
Sheldrick Redwine, and he was a 6th-round pick.
Okay.
The rookie we drafted this year, Richard LeCount, is a 5th-round pick from Georgia. Now, he was a top-rated high school player coming in. He definitely performed well out in Georgia. His 3 years in the SEC was one of the top, if not the top safety out there, outside of Grant Delpit. So we got him in the 5th round because he had a bad combine performance. Thank
Okay.
you, Combine. Thank you, Combine. I appreciate that. Okay. We got
Yeah,
him.
people want to get rid of it. It's a blessing in disguise. I keep trying to tell people.
You know what I'm saying? I understand. I appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? You allowed a guy to slip off the radar, and we was able to pick him up. So he was the reason Cedric Redwine got cut. We wanted to bring him back to the practice squad. He ended up landing a role with the Jets. I foresee him being a starting free safety with the Jets, with Marcus Mays over there, because I felt like Redwine is a really good young player. He just needs a chance to play on the field.
Heard.
So wide receiver Cordero Hodge, as I was saying, he was really like last year he started off as a number 3 receiver on our depth chart, okay? For injuries or whatever case or whatnot. But We really liked him as a special teams guy, as a receiver. He had a great camp. We really didn't want to have to let him go. You know what I'm saying? But as I said, new regime, the people they bring in gonna take president because they specifically fit what they want to do. Everybody else kind of has to prove that they fit what they want to do, or this regime has done a good job of allowing guys to go somewhere where they can prosper. You know what I'm saying? We ain't gonna hinder your career. We just need what we need, and we gonna let you do what you want to do. We give you the option to do what you want to do, which is, respect go a long way in this business. You know what I'm
It's
saying?
always a blessing to have a front office that's willing to that's willing to show a little and give a little to get a little back.
That's a fact. You feel what I'm saying? Because, it ain't no my way or the highway. We got to work as a collective unit to get to the goal. That's really how this works. All right. We have some other cuts. Defensive line guys, Porter Gustan, a guy's been with us quite a long time, had a nice PFF rating as a run defender from the defensive end position with his snaps. But, we was able to bring him back on our practice squad. We cut another guy, Marvin Wilson, top-rated, undrafted defensive tackle for Florida State. Guy who was a top 10 draft pick a year ago before his final year, but he underperformed in his final year. I mean, you can attribute that to a few things, new coach, new philosophy, a few little things, but whatever the case is, he didn't really stack up. I can't say he had a poor camp here. I don't think he had a poor camp. It's just the level of competition here is so crazy. All right. Now, mind you, we gave him 200,000. You know what I'm saying? As an undrafted, like, come on, now, come play with us. You know what I'm saying? But this is what we do. We did that with Curtis Weaver. We did that with AJ Green. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, if we like you, we're gonna bring you in. We're gonna pay you $2. So, Marvin Wilson, he just didn't stack up against the rest of the competition this time. So we let him go. I didn't see him back on our practice squad roster, but hopefully he comes back, or maybe somebody goes pick him up. Maybe he train. I don't know. We gonna see though, because we still got some slots. We had another end, Cameron Malvo, a guy we picked up off the waiver wire last year sometime. I want to say he was undrafted too. He had a pretty good preseason, but I mean, we got some dogs in our final set. He didn't make it. Curtis Weaver, a guy I was just talking about. Guy who traveled around in his young career. But we was able to bring him back on the practice squad too. So, but he was part of the initial cuts. It was another guys, JoJo Natson. He got cut. He was able to bring him back. Nick Mullins, a quarterback who was backing up in Philly.
I remember Nick. Had a couple starts last year before they decided to put Jalen Hurts in, if I remember correctly. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess his agent contacted us sometime when they knew he was getting cut, or right as when he getting cut, and let him know that Nick wanted to come specifically play over here.
Really?
So he could potentially be he's going to be a practice squad guy that could potentially just take the place of Case Keenum, especially if Baker Mayfield shows the progression that we're looking for or even expect out of him this year.
That's the natural progression. You would want a quarterback that's closer to Baker's age and can mimic more what he does rather than the mentor role that Keenum brings, assuming that Baker takes the necessary steps. How old is Case Keenum?
34, bro.
That's what I thought. That's what I was gonna say. All right, for
Yeah,
sure. Yeah.
so, but Case Keenum roll over here, and this what I personally believe. I believe Alex Van Pelt is going to get an offensive coordinator's position. I mean, an offensive coordinator offer. All right, whether that be or maybe even a head coach, bro. Alex Van Pelt, a respected guy. He was a backup in this league for a long time, backed up a lot of stars. You know what I'm saying? So he has great knowledge of the game and offense. You know what I'm saying? A QB whisperer for real, for real. He ain't even given the title yet, but he's been doing this thing. You know what I'm saying? So if Baker takes that step, I think Case Keenum could end up being the OC over here at some time, just on the strength that Case Keenum was brought to help Baker learn Stefanski's way of playing. You know what I'm saying? He got to get into the mind
one of the quarterbacks that knows it the best. That's for sure.
Right, and then Alex Van Pelt was brought over to fix Baker's mechanics. So this is why Stefanski having given up the offensive play calling. He will, you know what I'm saying, which I think might make Van Pelt stay because of the talent we have and just what he could build. Yeah, he can be hot now, but after we win a couple times, he gonna be on fire. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So, so Nick Mullins is brought in, and if he shows up and shows out, he's a guy who's been in the NFL for a minute. He's still fairly young. He's about 26. You know what I mean? So he can still play, and if he grows in this, especially in this system, you know what I'm saying. Now people say, hey, Stefanski system, any quarterback can run it. Baker getting the easy right, but I think they forget that the system still has to fit around the quarterback. So you don't create these certain angles and these certain routes to match up and disguise and get certain guys open if that quarterback can't make that throw. I think people keep forgetting that Baker can make all the throws. He has one of the strongest arms. And, you know what? Baker grew on me, okay? Because, you don't got to have the
I hear
strongest.
this.
You know what I'm saying? You
I
don't
hear
got
that
to.
he grew on you.
Yeah, he
A
grew
lot of
on
these,
me.
a lot of your audience don't know how many discussions we've had outside of these little cameras right here in regards to Mr. Mayfield. So I just like to let everybody know that when he says that this man grew on him, okay, you can take that to the bank.
I appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? So Baker, wait. So finalizing my 53-man cuts, because I get the example and the rambling, monologuing, and all type of craziness. So back to the 53-man cuts. Our 53-man cuts boiled us down to keeping 24 on offense and 26 on. Well, the initial cuts was 25 and 25. You know what I'm saying? So we kept 10 offensive linemen. We kept 4 running backs, 3 tight ends, 2 quarterbacks, and 5 receivers. And then on defense, we kept 8 defensive linemen, 10 defensive backs, and 7 linebackers, with a kicker, a punter, and a long snapper. Now we kept our kicker and our punter because our punter and our long snapper, you know what I'm saying, is Pro Bowl caliber. Hugh Hughley been to the Pro Bowl I don't know how many times. People don't even shout that out, but all he do is snap on field goals and punts. This is it. But you can't get past him, and you can't. He always on point. All right. If we could find a kicker, all right. We got Chase McLaughlin. McLaughlin. I'm gonna just say McLaughlin. But McLaughlin. I'm only gonna say McLaughlin because he iffy. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Kevin Stefanski did something that was so nice in our last preseason game. And what he did was he asked, it was the end of the, going into halftime. It was about 20 seconds left. We actually got the ball with about 50 seconds left. Case Keenum drove him down to like the 35, 37 type, you know what I'm saying? And then they brought the field. He ran it down, and they ran the field goal unit out. So, when I seen this, you know me, I already knew what he was doing. All right, bro, you really just won a job by default because Cody Parkey went out with an injury. We really wanted Cody Parkey because even though he had his rough patches, he was nailing it. You know what I'm saying?
Parkey has always been a streaky but consistent in his streaks type of kicker.
You just about know when he gonna fold.
Yes.
So Chase, we don't know nothing about. We look for guys on the waiver wire. It was some talk of bringing Zane Gonzalez which is crazy because we had Zane Gonzalez initially a few years ago, but that's a whole nother story.
Our playoff chances last year would advise you against that decision.
Look, hey, once again, we had him initially. You know what I'm saying? And we was terrible. We went 0-16 and he couldn't make the cut. So
listen. I know the only reason he came back was because he was an Arizona boy. Trust, I understand. He does not have the nerve. You know it. I know it. The rest of the world knows it. Zane Gonzalez can kick a ball. That doesn't mean he can kick it well.
You know, but with that being said, on our rosters, we end up putting some guys on the IR. Jacob Phillips went on the IR. Um, who else went on the IR? That was the big name. Actually, all the other names on the IR is really small. Like we stashed some guys. Drew Forbes, a fifth round pick from a couple years ago. We stashed him on the IR. Greg Sanat, another tackle who performed well for us in the preseason. They had ended up getting some little minor injuries, but we just stashed him on the IR because they're young guys. We got two um, tight ends on the IR, Connor Davis. Not forget the other guy name. I ain't gonna say here and stuff. I could look it up right now, but I ain't feel like that was that important for this segment, for real, for real. So, but with our offense, though, uh, our offense is pretty set, bro. You know what I'm saying? Going in about your offense, man. Our offense pretty set. We returning, 20 of the 25 starters from last year. The whole front line. It's only one new addition to the backfield, two new additions to the wide receiver core. One new addition to the wide receiver core because our receivers, Odell Beckham Jr. You know what I'm saying? Coming back.
Juice
Everybody was talking
Landry on the
that.
other side.
You know what I'm saying? Juice Landry, you feel me? LSU. Hey, we might be LSU you after you or something. We might be LSU after you or something. You know what I'm saying? I
I
don't know,
heard it. I
man.
heard
But
it.
you know what I'm saying? We got a lot of these guys over here in skilled positions. I ain't mad, man. These guys be hungry to play, man. They want to play. You know what I'm saying?
It's
And
a darn good school for it. Let me tell you.
yeah. So but we got Odell, we got Jarvis, we got Donovan Peoples Jones, who was a 6th round pick for us last year. Came out of Michigan, was really a highly rated prospect coming out of high school, but he was over there with Hardball in Michigan, and they ain't really play
Tough
offense out.
situation to be in right now. Tough situation out
So
there in Michigan right now.
so we got him as a steal, and just talking about late round steals, you know what I mean. This front office does a great job of doing that because we got about 3 or 4 of them on our roster. I think maybe even 5. But we'll get to that in a second. So we got Donovan Peoples Jones. He's had a great camp. Guy's about 6'2", 210. Outstanding receiver. He probably gonna play third receiver for us. We brought back Rashard Higgins, who's been a guy who's just had immaculate chemistry with Baker Mayfield. Since
Excellent. And if Rashard Higgins, probably one of the more excellent slot receivers that I've seen in the past few years. He's absolutely lethal in that position. Great X factor receiver for y'all on that offense. I absolutely love his game.
And you know what's so crazy though? He ain't gonna even play the slot for us, bro. Because last year he played the one for us because Odell was down. So he gonna play the backup one. I mean, he gonna play some slot because we ain't got into philosophy yet, but you know what I'm saying, like the way we gonna run our squad, you feel me, is on a
Absolutely.
whole nother type of perspective. So, but I appreciate that because he is a good piece to have. Our wide receivers have had injury problems. Odell coming back from injury. Jarvis played when he dinged up, but he do be dinged up. All right, but we also drafted a guy in the 3rd round, Anthony Schwartz out of Auburn. This guy basically runs a 4.26. All right. At Auburn, he was a receiver, but had more rushing touchdowns than receiving touchdowns just because of how they run their offense with the screens and all that. The
Mm-hmm.
guy got some type of hands and just playing with the guys around him. I'm pretty sure his game gonna get better. One thing I can say is Jarvis and Odell as a tandem have, as a duo, as a tandem, then increase the catching on our team. Not just them. They make every other skill position get their hands up. Bruh, these boys be at practice showing out. Okay? One hand
Mm-hmm.
with the left, one hand with the right, one hand
Yes,
in
sir.
double coverage. Okay? Look,
Okay.
they practice this, bruh. This is no game. All right. So, I love having them guys on our team. But our receiver room looks real nice. As far as the offensive line, bro, the offensive line game is top in the league. JC Treader at the center. You know what I'm saying? Joe Batonio, been a whole statue for us over here at this left guard position.
Bitonio has been a stalwart through some rough years there at the guard spot.
You know what I'm
So got
saying?
to give
But,
him some respect. Got to give him his flowers for that. Definitely put up
and
there.
no. And he the only thing left we got for Joe Thomas, man. He played with Joe Thomas for
Yes,
years.
yes, I remember. Yes, I remember.
You know what I'm saying? So that oh man. But got to give John Dorsey credit. You know what I'm saying? He made after we drafted Baker Mayfield, he made a trade with Buffalo. You know what I'm saying? And picked up Wyatt Teller, who rated out as the best right guard in football last year.
Okay.
He's a guy on the last year of his deal, looking for a big extension. Man,
It's a
we
good
love
time
to
to get
keep
one. Good
Wyatt,
year to
bro.
get one.
You know what I'm saying? We love to keep Wyatt, but we got so many people to pay and can get paid. But depending on how I go this year, the salary cap might increase tenfold. So we might be able to go ahead and keep him. But he is definitely a young guy. He only like 24, bro, 25. You know what I'm saying? So
You
he
know,
can
young
have.
interior lineman, a top commodity every year. Every year.
Yeah.
If you run into a money glut, they the ones who get away.
No, that's a fact. All right. Um, Jack Conklin, a guy that we signed, you know what I'm saying, 2 off seasons ago.
Previously from Tennessee, correct? Or
Yeah,
Indianapolis.
no, that was Tennessee. That was Tennessee. You know what I'm saying? And then we got, Jedrick Willis Jr.
Willis.
from
Yes.
Alabama on the left side,
First round pick tackle, number 10.
number 10. And you know what's so crazy about him, bro? He is the weakest link on our line. And he ain't even a weak link. That's what
Good
make my
problems to have.
line so
Good
fire,
problems to
man.
have.
Like everybody on my line Pro Bowlers, bro, except him. Everybody else is a Pro Bowler except him. You know what I'm saying? So if you're gonna be the weakest link on the line, that's a great line to be the weakest link on because you clearly gonna get your game up.
This would be year 2 for Jedrick. Am I correct?
Yes, it is.
Would it be fair to say that we're talking about possible Pro Bowl for him this year?
Man, we gonna get into that. We gotta talk about the rest of the team first. You feel me? So, and speaking on that, let's segue back to your offense and these running back and quarterback and tight end game you got going on over there.
So I want to talk about these running backs because ain't nobody want to be talking about these running backs, but I want to be talking about these running backs. Kept 4 when the final cuts was said and done, but there was really only 4 competing in the preseason for us. So we kind of knew they was all going to stay, and we kind of knew after the signing of James Conner in the offseason who the 1-2 was going to be. So really it ended up just being a battle between Eno Benjamin and Jonathan Ward, a 6th-round pick out of 2019, for the 3 and the 4 spot. Jonathan Ward had a really, really good camp. I just want to put that out there, even though he ended up with the 4th running back role. He had an excellent camp. I would say that Jonathan Ward is a combination of Chase Edmonds and James Conner in terms of he brings Chase's lateral cut abilities with Conner's size and the ability to hit between the tackles.
Okay.
I think he's going to grow into a rotational role. Best part about Jonathan Ward is that he is an excellent special teamer as well, so he's going to get used on special teams. Because we don't like, as the Arizona Cardinals, don't typically like to incorporate our special teamers into our offense and defense, this leaves Eno Benjamin, a 7th-round pick, and I still am disgusted to say a 7th-round pick because there's absolutely no way he should have fallen that far, out of Arizona State University for the number 3 running back job. Now, Eno Benjamin was an underrated running back at Arizona State in the Pac-12, but was the core component of Herm Edwards' turnaround with the roster in 2018, in his final year. 2019, his final year, as he was drafted last year. And again, as I said, I don't understand why he fell all the way to the 7th round. I said 4th might have been a bit of a reach, but this man was easily a 5th round pick considering the depth of the running back class this year. Keim got away with a steal. and believe that I cannot say that very, very often with confidence. So I'm very happy. I'm feeling very, very good about the strength of the running back room as it stands right now. I am predicting a very, very good year for Chase Edmonds. Chase Edmonds is now going to be in his fourth year with the Arizona Cardinals and is looking for a contract extension.
Question. Is Chase Edmonds is his college from down there? Ain't he from down there?
Chase Edmonds went to Fordham.
Okay.
In upstate New York.
Okay.
This year, I likely predict, even though that Chase Edmonds is our RB1, he has the dynamic ability to also slot in as our wide receiver 3. Similar to 2016 when David Johnson led the team in rushing yards on the ground and was, in fact, the third wide receiver through the air.
Okay.
I believe that Chase Edmonds has shown that ability in flashes time and time again over the course of his 3-year career. And in this year, he is ready to take it off and show it to the next level. And I'm looking at 800 receiving yards for Chase Edmonds this year. Okay. That being said, we're talking about bulk catches, bulk volume, bulk touches, but not necessarily volume scoring. This is a chain mover. When DeAndre Hopkins is going to be double covered, when they got the safety help over the top for A.J. Green, when Rondale Moore, an excellent rookie who's also had a very good camp, maybe he messes up his assignment. Maybe he go the wrong way. Maybe he misses route. Maybe he trip and fall over. Chase is your X factor that's going to get you that 6-yard chunk play that's going to move the chains and keep a drive alive. And he's going to do it on third down. So that way I don't have to stress about Cliff Kingsbury trying to call a screen on 4th and 1.
Okay.
Following that, what did you want me to follow with, my friend?
So, what you got with your quarterback situation and your tight end play? And any depth on your team?
Well, quarterback should be a pretty straightforward discussion. We signed Colt McCoy this offseason to a 2-year deal, $16 million.
Okay.
$9 million fully guaranteed. So he was brought in to be in so many words, I'm going to say that he was brought in to be the same role that Case Keenum provides.
That's what I was just thinking.
In Kyler's first 2 seasons, he has had Chris Streveler and I'm blanking on the other quarterback that he played with in his rookie season.
It's a reason.
Sometimes that happens.
It's a reason for that, man. You got Colt McCoy now. That's a bigger name. You know what I'm saying? And a guy who's proven in this league that he can, lead the NFL offense.
Listen, I have loved Colt McCoy since his unfortunate Rose Bowl appearance back at Texas back in the day when he had janked that knee up and didn't get to play. I have always thought that Colt McCoy is a player and a proven winner in his brief stint in Washington. I love the signing, and I loved exactly what he's going to bring in terms of a mentor and growth world to Kyler Murray. Again, talking about this is year 3, the year he needs to take that jump. We saw Baker Mayfield take that jump. We've seen Josh Allen take this jump. Everybody takes the leap. But every one of these gentlemen has had a quality head coach, quarterbacks coach, and or mentor backup in order to facilitate that leap. This year we have that. In addition, we also kept Chris Streveler. Chris Streveler being a Golden Cup, I believe it is. Oh, no, excuse me, Grey Cup. 2-time Grey Cup champion in the CFL.
Okay.
In 2017 and 2016, he was actually a back-to-back champion. Lively, eccentric gentleman. I expect him to be the third quarterback, or rather he was kept on the active roster, so we are keeping 3 quarterbacks. I do expect Chris Streveler to be utilized in sub-packages as a fullback, sometimes as a blocking tight end. In certain situations, unique situations, he'll be called on for kind of an X factor player. He's got running ability and not much else. Most people will look. A lot of Cardinal fans were not happy with keeping him on the active roster. I personally don't mind it, considering the Swiss Army knife factor that he brings. Think of him as this team's, the tight end for the New Orleans Saints.
Cook? Was it Jared Cook that was over there?
No, the one who plays their quarterback for him sometimes, too.
Oh, Taysom Hill.
Chris Trevor is the Arizona Cardinals.
Oh, that's funny, because I was like, tight end, wait. I be forgetting he played tight end.
No, in so many words, Chris Trevor is the Arizona Cardinals Taysom Hill.
Okay.
Thus leading me into the tight end discussion, because beyond that, it's rather thin. We only kept 3 active on the roster in Darrell Daniels, Demetrius Harris, and Max Williams. Now, most people remember Max Williams. I'm sure you do. Tight end, second-round pick for the Baltimore Ravens back in 2014.
Okay, that's where I remember that name from.
Max is a darn good tight end who just cannot stay healthy. It's unfortunate. His body has not been very good to him in his career. He had injury issues with the Ravens, hip problems, knee problems. Unfortunately, they followed him to the Cardinals. He's been dealing with knee and ankle issues in his 2 years with us. Did sign a 3-year extension last offseason. This is the second year of that, so hopefully we'll see. Hopefully we can get some production out of him, because when he is on the field, he's an excellent blocker and a great mismatch in the red zone. Beyond that, we also have Darrell Daniels, who is, at this point in time, the starting tight end. Darrell is a mid-tier blocker, but an excellent mismatch, again, in the red zone. He's 6'6", big guy, nice hands, good athleticism. He runs some nice, solid routes. He's not the fastest cat in the world. We run some nice, solid routes. Kyler has some really good rapport with him in the chain-moving game. He loves to look to fucking Darrell Daniels on third down, third and short. Fourth down and short, this is who we looking to. So I'm glad Darrell made the team, but otherwise tight end is light, as it is year after year. I would like to keep pointing out to our Arizona fans that no matter how much we might want it, we will not play with elite tight ends. We don't go after elite tight ends. This is not what this team is built on. This has never been the philosophy of the Arizona Cardinals. Our teams are always built around elite wide receiver duos, never a Gronkowski, a Kelsey, a Howard, an Njoku, etc. So I just want to make that clear. These boys are role players and role players only.
Okay. So
don't look to them in fantasy.
So overall, how do you feel about the depth of your team?
Well, we're talking about offense right now, my man. And as it stands right now, there might be a handful of question marks on the back end of depth. But as it stands right now, I actually feel like the depth right now on the offense is the best that it's been in Kyler Murray's young career. He finally has a legitimate mentor quarterback that can take quality reps from him when necessary, even if he just needs to spell and take a rest. We're 4 deep at running back, each man who can do exactly what Cliff Kingsbury's offense requires. For the first time in probably, I might argue, Steve Keim's tenure with the tenure as general manager of the Arizona Cardinals, that we are 2 deep at every position on offensive line. And you know as well as I do, offensive line health is essential to success in today's NFL.
That's a fact.
There's a handful of questions about the back end of the receiver core beyond Rondale Moore and A.J. Green. Christian Kirk is entering a contract year. He's shown flashes of skill ability and to be the 4th receiver that can take the top off of defense. Great route runner, but this is a contract year. I need to see some consistency from Christian Kirk. I need to see something big from him. Obviously, we also have Andy Isabella rounding out the back end of the wide receiver core with Antoine Wesley. Andy Isabella, 2nd-round pick we got in a trade for Josh Rosen. Again, these are players that I need to see some stuff from this year. There's a fair amount of weight behind their play this year, and I think they need to show me something. I'm not as concerned about Andy Isabella as I am Christian Kirk. I know he was a 2nd-round pick for us and a very highly touted pick, being out of Saguaro High School and a local product. So I want to see that. But beyond the first 3 wide receivers, I'm feeling good about things. All things considered, I'm feeling good.
Okay. Okay, I like that. I like that. I like that.
So
All
what
right,
about
so
your depth, though, my friend? How are you feeling about the state of your team? I mean, obviously, I love the confidence. It comes from you every year. I'm hearing it every single year. Even those dark time years, you had your strong sense of confidence on this team. So how are you feeling about the Cleveland Browns right here, right now, right this second?
man, in previous years, I think I gave coaching staffs a little too much credit. Guys who came from places. It was guys I didn't like, or I thought feelings or staffing that was incomplete. You get a nice head coach, but you don't get any supporting coaches to go with it. I thought this regime this year, last year, the Haslams did a great job of getting guys that fill in everywhere. Andrew Berry has a staff that he likes that he can use. Paul DePodesta has an analytical staff that he has that he can use. Um, uh, Coach Stefanski, Van Pelt, uh, Chris Kiffin, Chad O'Shea. Chris Kiffin is the defensive line coach. Chad O'Shea is the passing game coordinator. Uh, um, We got Jason Tarver as the linebackers coach, Joe Woods, defensive coordinator, Matt Pfeiffer, or Mike Pfeiffer, special teams coach, been over here for a minute. And, Mike Pfeiffer as a special teams guy, he didn't really have a lot last year either. We had to use Donovan People-Jones as a returner, and I really didn't like that. He just doesn't seem, has like in college, that's cool, but this the NFL. All right, and I thought that the front office did a great job this year of filling in the roster and answering questions. So getting to the depth before I even get to the running backs, the tight ends, the quarterback play, and I already a little bit elaborated on the backup quarterback play. But the depth on this offensive line that we have is so remarkable. Okay, we got Michael Dunn, guy we picked up. I found out he was an older guy. He's about 30 years old, but he's done really good for us as a guard center swing. We got Nick Harris, a guy we drafted in the 4th round last year from Washington. He's good he's really good as a center. They try him at guard, but he ain't really that good at guard. I don't think anyway. He's not strong enough. But for a center though, he fired though. We also have a guy, Blake Hance, a guy who we signed last year when we had a lot of players. No, was that the Chiefs? Or no, that was the Steelers. We was down tackles to COVID or something.
I remember that game.
Blake Hance started at left tackle for us. Now he's going to play interior lineman for us. We drafted a guy out of Cincinnati, James Hudson III. He's been, some good days, some bad days, but he's so athletic. He's all got so much natural ability. And then we have Bill Callahan as an offensive line coach. I mean, if you don't know, you should know. Bill Callahan is the best, one of the best ever to, direct and
Period.
coordinate
I
a
mean,
block.
period. That's just, yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's how our offense is structured, okay? Stefanski calls the plays. All right, Chad O'Shea is the passing game coordinator. All right, Bill Callahan is the blocking coordinator. All right, and then we got a guy, Stump. I forget his first name right now, but Stump, who is our running backs coordinator. And Alex Van Pelt is the
Don't y'all
offensive.
still have Stump Mitchell? Isn't it Stump
Stump
Mitchell?
Mitchell. There you go. Stump Mitchell. I don't know why I thought Stump was his last name, but I just always called him Stump, man. Him and that beard, bro. He looked like that with that beard, bro. He just looked like an old wise man. Like, you know what? You don't even
Stump was the running back coach for 1 year in Arizona Cardinals during the Steve Wilkes fiasco. But that was one of my favorite coaches. I love Stump.
Yeah, so that's who. And look, he got Chubb, Hunt. Wait, we about to get into what he got. So, but I like the depth on our offensive line. We also got Chris Hubbard still. I'm not a huge fan of Chris Hubbard, but I am a fan of him as a rotational line because he
Heard.
can play right guard or right tackle if need be. I just don't see him as a starter. The role we have him in is exactly the role that makes him appealing.
A
Um,
swing back.
you know what I'm saying? But as a starter,
He ain't
I
it.
just, you know what I'm saying? A couple games, a whole season, I wouldn't try my chances. No offense. You know what I'm saying?
You
So,
gotta be obvious, and you gotta be straightforward with what your team needs, man. You can't sugarcoat it.
So, but our running back room is the best running back room in the league. I don't even think it's up for debate. All right, and they only know about the two-headed monster. All right, which is Nicholas Chubb out of Georgia, and Kareem Hunt, former Russian champion, used to be with the Chiefs. Russian champion this rookie year, third round pick type. You know what I'm saying? But he from Ohio, Youngstown area. You feel me? Now he back home getting to
That's right.
play. All right.
That's right.
And them two as a tandem ran for like 1,800. All right. Chubb only played like 12 games. You know what I'm saying? Hunt had like over 400 yards receiving. Chubb had another 200 plus yards receiving. All right. So these guys give you something with the passing and receiving. All right, you gotta excuse me, man. I'm outside. I'm in Florida. I'm in the jungle. All right, so you gonna hear some weather. I
I'm
just
here
want
to
y'all to
weather.
know that. You feel me? So,
Don't bother me none.
uh, and then also we got Dearness Johnson, man. Dearness Johnson is a guy that we picked up 2 years ago. Uh, I believe he was an inherited back that we picked. John Dorsey picked up. I gotta give John Dorsey credit, man. He has an eye for talent. All right. As a manager of people, he sucks. But as a talent evaluator,
Might be one of the best.
might be one of the best, bro. That is a fact. Might be one of the best. All right. You know what I'm saying?
I
Um,
would never want John Dorsey to run my team on a long-term basis, but
but
I
he
would
could be
have
on my staff.
absolutely no problem having him come and run my team for a single off season. Does that make sense?
Mm. He only good for what he good for, and then you gotta cut ties because he get a little too beside himself in the head.
He might
I
be
don't
one
know.
of the best mercenary developers of any general manager in the NFL in terms of being able to identify what you need right this second and being able to get it for you. I mean, might be second to none.
Yeah, man. I'm glad he gone. All right. But
I believe it. I believe
it.
it. No, yeah, that's what you should do. Appreciate him from a distance.
But so Dearness Johnson, former XFL player. Dearness Johnson is such a great third back, bro. He can run, he can catch. I think he's like 26. He about 25, 26. And to be honest, bro, I think he can start on anybody's team. I'm
Oh,
scared that we gonna lose him next year. But that's okay, because I want to see him eat. I want to see him shine. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully this year he can leave with a ring. You know what I'm saying? We'll get into that. But we drafted a guy. We'll keep talking about this regime and late round draft picks, man. 6th round pick in this prior draft. Um, Demetric Felton out of UCLA, a guy who played running back and receiver for that
and
team.
receiver. I
Put
remember him
put
UCLA.
up in all-purpose yards. You know what I mean? A guy who was brought in and really played kick returner for us. Him and Anthony Schwartz, the burner I was speaking on. Speaking on this regime again, being able to identify where we needed to answer questions at, and able to give coaches something that they need, being that they made it work with less than what they should have been. So
Right.
we got two guys that we can use for trick plays, guys that we can use in situational events, but more importantly, these guys can play on our special teams and help us get better field position for the powerhouse that we have with this offense, and we're going to get into, what I'm saying, this defense in a second. Um, our tight end room, uh, arguably is the best room. I will emphasize room.
Room.
Arguably the best room in the National Football League as well.
Okay.
We have Austin Hooper, a guy that we signed last year. Last year. Um, when we signed Jack Conklin, uh, he came from the Atlanta Falcons, put up stellar numbers with Matt Ryan down there. But he liked it, our culture up here. He liked it, the coaches. I guess he heard and he came over. Last year he played pretty good for us. Even though our offense was still working, I felt like he didn't show up a lot during the season, but I felt like in the playoffs he showed up enough,
Mm-hmm.
especially for not having no preseason, jailing on the fly. He showed up enough for me to be like, okay, you're 26, 27. I ain't really tripping. All right. We got David Njoku, a guy that we drafted when we drafted Miles Garrett, I believe that was, and Jabril Peppers. Jabril Peppers.
That's correct. He was the final of your 3 first-round picks that year, if I remember correctly.
You know what I'm saying? So, but he was a guy that had some controversy last year. He wanted to be traded, and it's understandable that you go through so much turmoil with a team. Then you finally get your chance to shine at the position, and then they go pay a guy millions of dollars that play your position. It can
That's
make you
gonna
a break.
frustrate you a little bit. I can understand.
Yeah, you know what
We in the
I'm saying?
Cardinals dealt with a similar situation this offseason as well. I'm sure our financial motives behind paying J.J. Watt might have bristled Chandler Jones into his trade request as well. So trust we know a little bit about it.
You know what I mean? So, but he went from a guy who had all the tools but didn't seem to put it together to arguably our best uh, tall receiving threat on this offense. And he is proven to be the best blocker at that position on our offense. So I really like that room. Also, we have Harrison Bryant, a guy who we picked up in last year's draft. Fourth round pick guy, was the top rated tight end, fell further than what was expected. But he's a 6'4" guy. He kind of Utich. Is that how you say his name? Used to play for the
Juszczyk.
Colts. Utich. His build remind me of him, and a little bit of his skill set reminds me of him. But he's a little more physical.
Okay.
A little more built than Uchech. I think Uchech was a more slimmer frame, but a big body. But this guy's, like he hit the weight room. He really be working on this, what I'm saying, on this form. But he has great hands. Not the best hands. You could argue who has the best hands on in our room, even though each guy has a different level of pedigree, whether it be established status in the league, draft status, or whatever the case may be. So I really like our tight end room, our quarterback. Arguably the most controversial player in the league right now. Okay,
Hmm.
arguably. You know what I mean?
Paging Deshaun Watson.
You know what I'm saying? Deshaun Watson's situation is
I'd
still
argue a touch
under
more
invest.
controversial.
It's still under investigation. So whether he's guilty or innocent is still up for debate. Baker has a track record that people actually have a lightweight kind of basis to be on him about. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Ain't really no outside factor contributing to his controversy. It's really just all him. So this is why I say the most controversial guy. You know what I'm saying? But I won't argue Deshaun Watson. I won't argue. You know what I mean? Baker, a guy who grew on me, man. I wanted Saquon and Lamar Jackson at 1 and 4. All right, that's who I wanted.
I
You
can't
know what I
confirm.
mean? You know what I mean? So, but we took Baker and Denzel. You know what I'm saying? We get to Denzel. We on Baker right now. A guy went through 4 head coaches in his first 3 seasons. Uh,
Mm.
3 different offensive schemes, philosophies. You know, and at the second half of every year, he's been better. So to me, that shows or highlights that once he actually learns what's going on, he can thrive. You know,
Mm-hmm.
but this consistency hasn't been around him when it comes to the coaching staff and philosophy. Second year, coach the Fancy's system, you know, coach of the year last year. Um, so Baker is in good hands. Alex Van Pelt, as we highlighted, he's in good hands. Stump Mitchell around him with the running backs. He's in good hands. Bill Callahan with the line. He's in good hands. We highlighted the tight end room. We highlighted the top receivers. We highlighted even, you know, the depth and the weapons and how they can be utilized to still contribute without interfering or but only adding to what Baker Mayfield can possibly be capable of. So,
Absolutely.
you know, it's been a big question. Hey, you know, is this Baker Mayfield's make or break year? Not in that sense. Baker, to me, has already proved he's our franchise quarterback. That's not even up for debate.
I think
He
that's
has
safe to say.
already proved that he can lead a locker room full of strong minds. He's shown that he can block out the noise and focus on his work and perform at a high level when it's most needed, given the chance. And I emphasize given the chance before I get to the defense, okay? Given the chance. So what do I expect from Baker Mayfield this year is another conversation, but I think he's in good hands, and I would not be surprised if he continues from where he left off last year, especially with the addition of Odell being healthy. Do I expect him to fire off the top? It's only possible because of our week 1 matchup, but you know what I'm saying? Normally I would say, give him, 3, 4 weeks. You know what I'm saying? See how
Find a
they try
groove.
to, just see how it all work together. You feel what I'm saying? It's a lot of things going on this year with the NFL, a lot of outside politics and guidelines and standards and situation. Individual may vary, but I feel like Baker will perform well. I don't only, Lord forbid some crazy circumstance, knock on wood, but I don't think, I think he's going to perform at a high level. So I think our quarterback position is set for a long term. Our backup quarterback is cool with Case Keenum. He knows the system. If he needs to step in and play a couple games, a couple of snaps, we have more than enough weapons on the offense to cover up for whatever lack thereof he may have. So, as far as my offense, I feel like I got the best offense in the league. I feel like I got the deepest offense in the league. And I feel like the only way that it doesn't get shown that way is if for some reason these guys just don't show up on Sunday. That's just where I'm at with my whole offense. So we spent the time on this offense though. Defense. I see you with the Chandler Jones jersey on, representing for the hometown, you feel me? Okay. You know what I'm saying? So, how you feeling about that AZ defense? A lot of new acquisitions, I believe. I think a former Super Bowl winning defensive coordinator over there, I believe. So let us know what you got going on over there.
Well, the defense is it's an interesting thing to talk about as it stands right now because we're talking about probably one of the deepest front sevens in the NFL, and then probably one of the thinnest defensive back rooms in the NFL. We have a real min-max situation going on here on the AZ defense. And it's going to be fascinating to watch this year. Now, I say that I was feeling much more confident about this up until about a week ago when Malcolm Butler posted that he was going to retire due to a personal issue. And as it stands today, he is on the reserve retired list and will not start for the Arizona Cardinals this year. Now, thankfully, we were able to recoup some of that salary if he does decide to stay out. So $3.25 million ain't gonna be no loss. We can turn that around for somebody for depth later in the season. So that leaves on the back end Robert Alford, and now our 4th-round rookie, Marco Wilson. Now, most people know Robert Alford is a former 3rd-round pick of the Atlanta Falcons, part of their Super Bowl run team that ended up losing to the New England Patriots in a heartbreaking fashion. The year after that, he came to the Arizona Cardinals. He has yet to play a game for the Arizona Cardinals, as in that time he has dealt with a torn ACL and a torn pectoral muscle that have kept him out the previous 2 seasons. He also just so happened to have caught COVID this offseason, but is recovering from that and is slated to start week 1. This will be his first game played since 2018. November of 2018. Now, that's a lot to ask for a player coming back from a series of injuries to be the number 1 cornerback in departure of Patrick Peterson, who played so many quality years here in Arizona. And that falls even more stress and importance on our 4th-round rookie, Marco Wilson, out of the University of Florida. Only played 1 year of collegiate ball at the University of Florida, as last year he opted out of his senior season due to COVID-19, as he had a 1-year-old daughter at home, and I have nothing but respect for the man for putting family first in that regard. But now he's been thrust into the starting role opposite Robert Alford and, of course, Byron Murphy in the slot. So it's gonna be tested. It's gonna be big things coming for him this year. So we're gonna have to see what happens, because he is gonna get thrown into the fire early, considering our week 1 opponent happens to feature AJ Brown and Julio Jones on offense. So he will be tested early.
Y'all week 1 at Tennessee. Y'all at Tennessee or at home?
At.
Oh, shit.
Yes, sir. We will be tested early. Now, that being said, with those wide receivers,
we get tested early too, bro. We get tested early too. So I feel your pain. I feel you.
Yes, indeed, sir. Yes, indeed, sir. Now, that being said, okay, well, we're talking about this D-line. And this D-line right now is mean. That's probably about the only way I could put it, is mean. Okay. And it's the first time I felt that way about it in quite some time. There's a certain aggressiveness to it. There's a certain dog mentality to it that I cannot get enough of. I'm enjoying it. I'm getting excited about it. Okay. Obviously, the big signing of the offseason, you might have heard of him. 2-time Defensive Player of the Year, J.J. Watt.
Oh, I heard of him. I think we got one of his former teammates, though. We'll talk about that in a second.
You might. I think you might know somebody who knows somebody who knows him over there. So we're gonna talk about that. J.J. Watt obviously came over here. He's getting paid $14 million a year. That's quite a solid payday. Now, I'm probably gonna come with the hot take on this. I'm gonna come with the spicy take, but I was not hyped about the J.J. Watt signing. Most specifically, I was not hyped about the price tag behind J.J. Watt. $14 million a year for a player who has not shown a certain level of consistent availability in the past 3 years gives me pause.
Okay. I think that's legit.
That said, I know the statistics. I have looked them up back and forth because obviously I stressed myself out about the signing, so I wanted to make sure that I had something to calm myself down about. And looking at J.J. Watt's statistics for last year, now he only had 4 sacks. It was a down year for him in terms of the sack production, but he, as most Houston fans will tell you, never had a whole lot of help on the other side to give him some edge. You're talking about the most double-teamed pass rusher in the NFL, this side of Aaron Donald, and the winningest double-teamed pass rusher in the NFL, regardless of his health in the past 5 years. Okay. When this man is on the field and put up against 2 offensive linemen or an offensive lineman and a tight end, he wins that matchup 82% of the time. That is 8% higher than the next man on the list, who I do not remember the next pass rusher on that list, although I do believe it is Aaron Donald. So, you're talking about a defensive line that now features J.J. Watt at the left defensive end position. Obviously, before I begin and go into detail, we run a 3-4 base.
My
We
God.
will now feed a defense that now features J.J. Watt at the left defensive end position, Rashard Lawrence, 6th-round defensive tackle out of LSU. Yes, indeed. We know how quality they are with the skill positions. 6th-round pick out of LSU last year. This is going to be his second year, and he has shown a very rapid command of Vance Jones's defense. Last year, sat out 9 games with a hamstring injury, and in just a very short preseason has already commanded the starting nose tackle spot in the middle, and I'm very excited about that because he can push the pocket from the interior, and he is an explosive player in the middle. Initially, we had slated at right defensive end on the other side of J.J. Watt there in the interior, Jordan Phillips. However, it just landed today that Jordan Phillips will start the season on injured reserve with an undisclosed injury. This is frustrating for a man who has been paid a 3-year, $18 million deal and has only 4 sacks to show for it. Unfortunately, it's looking like a bit of a whiff on the free agent market there in 2019, but it is in 2020, but it is what it is with Mr. Kime. Following that up, we've got our linebackers. And now here's where people need to get a little bit nervous. Because we're bringing back at the weak side linebacker position, obviously, the leading sack man of the Arizona Cardinals and currently the franchise leader in those, Chandler Jones.
Okay.
And this is the best part because we already know what Chandler Jones brings to the table. We already know that he has more sacks than any other pass rusher in the past 5 years, including Khalil Mack and Aaron Donald and Juan Myles Garrett. And this is including the fact that he only played 4 games last season. We know what Chandler Jones brings to the table, but y'all, when it messed up, and by I say y'all, I shouldn't say y'all, but I should say the Giants. Because the New York Giants messed up and let us trade a 6th-round pick over to them to get Chandler Jones's best buddy, Marcus Golden, back on the strong side linebacker spot on the other side. Traded for him midway through the season last year for a 6th-round pick. Obviously, formerly of the Arizona Cardinals, a 2nd-rounder. Paid him a nice, easy on the books 1-year deal to make sure my boy get a little bread for the family. $8 million for him, all
Look how it all
guaranteed.
come back around though.
He shouldn't have left in the first place. We had a glut at the position the year he left. I do not fault the man for getting a payday, but I also do not fault the man for not wanting to play for the New York Giants.
I was just about to ask that question. All right, for sure. That was my question.
The last time that Chandler Jones and Marcus Golden played opposite one another, each man had 12 sacks. That was Chandler Jones' first year on the Arizona Cardinals. That amounted to 24 sacks in the NFL, which was good for 4th most in the league that year. And now you are bringing that tandem back and adding J.J. Watt in the middle. But wait, I'm not done. Because we got 2 youngins behind these gentlemen. My left inside linebacker by the name of Zaven Collins, 1st-round pick, number 14 this year, or wherever we traded back to. Zaven Collins. And our 1st-round draft pick from last year, one of the most exciting and dynamic players in the NFL, Isaiah Simmons.
If I didn't have who I had on my motherfucking roster, I'd be so fucking pissed. Because, dude, that combination of linebackers is retarded. Not just for now. No, not just for right now. Arguably for the next half decade, bro, they could terrorize the whole NFC West. And, oh, my God.
Isaiah Simmons took reps this preseason at inside linebacker, outside linebacker.
Good. We all good, baby. Al will be back in a second, you feel me? That Arizona team, though, I ain't gonna lie, that linebacker room, with that defensive line room. You know what I'm saying? And they run that 3-4. You know what I'm saying? Like they got a nice situation going on over there, all right? You know, they over there in the NFC West, man, he gonna elaborate a little more when he come back. He gonna elaborate more on, you know what I'm saying, what else going down in there. But in the meantime, man, we back to these Browns, you feel me? Speaking on our front seven, because that's basically what he was elaborating on, and on our defensive end, the R53 roster man cut brought back some nice returns. All right, we got a loaded roster, but uh, our depth quality is so outstanding. You know what I'm saying? It's just so nice, man. Especially on this defense where it's most needed. Uh, last year our defense was so bad. Okay, so bad. And not so bad that, it was unmanageable. It was just, bro, people was going down left and right. We battling COVID. We got we was but and I was very critical of Joe Woods, man. I can't not say that because I was on his man list. So, once again, back to this front office, man. They did such a good job of loading my man up, all right? And, it's easier to elaborate on this now because, we have the 53-man roster cuts. You know what I'm saying? We know, who gonna do what and what gonna do who, or I'm saying who's in position to be able to contribute in this way or in that way. That's what I mean when I say that. So with our front seven, though, we run as what is going to be known as a 4-2-5. If you a Madden player, you've seen this. If you a frequent Madden player, we run this frequently. All right. It's just being able to manipulate that front seven. It's really just front six, though. Ideally, you'll have two defensive ends, two defensive tackles, and two linebackers, and then you will run with basically five defensive backs. Whether that be three corners, two safeties, three safeties, two corners. Four corners, a safety. It just depends on how you want to run your team and really the personnel that you have. Last year, I won't argue that
He froze up. He should be back. He should be
For
coming back
sure.
in. But you can do your thing.
I'm getting some gnarly feedback from my side, bro.
That's what's up. Hold on.